Let's see if they're going to fight them one more time here. They have swapped sides. OMG will be on blue side for game number 2 here. And the bands have already gone underway. As Vladimir, Lucian, and Swain and the bands coming out from OMG.
In LGD, they've banned out the Rise, Kindred, and Azir.
They're looking to try and pick up Rek'Sai as their first pick.
And it makes sense. We already said the priority on Rek'Sai at the moment. Quite high, very good throughout all stages of the game, good vision control. Echo was also massive for Xiong. I mean, he got MVP on it. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go towards something like that.
Yep. Another big thing is, you know, last game, LGD threw out a target ban towards 5, banning up the Thresh. I'd like to see if he's going to pick this one up in this game. It was his most played champion during the splitting split. A few great performances on the champion. But Sivir and Rek'Sai are going to be pickups of choice coming in for LGD.
Yeah, so huge AoE potential right now. I mean, AoE knock-up into Sivir, AoE damage, the latter the game goes is. Imp was like, I can do 5,000 damage without 3 Elder Drake, without 3 Infernal Drakes in pretty much a 15,000 gold hole. You wait to see what I can do when I hit every champion at once.
Well, he's going to be trying to do that with his Sivir here. Still waiting for OMG to pick up their next 2 champion picks. You know, the hover of the Elise to go into the reverse matchup. For now, he's actually going to lock it in. So Dre trying to show Amy what he can do on this Elise.
Yeah, don't blame him. I mean, I think that these 2 junglers with Kindred off the border, they're 2 easier to execute team fighting junglers. The game is devolving into team fights much more, which is why we're seeing Nidalee fall out of fashion. 5's Bard is very good.
It's actually going to not get locked in. Instead, they go for the Karma pickup instead, denying that one away from LGD especially.
I wonder if it now goes over to PYL and PYL takes the Bard matchup. Sivir Karma is very good because of how you can run around the map at incredibly fast speeds. Do want to see LGD grab a slightly more aggressive support than Braum so they can go into a 2v2 lane.
Well, let's see what they decide to pick up here. They picked Lissandra in their last game. You know, Punish had an interesting laning phase where there was a very aggressive
He had a bad laning
icon.
phase. He flashed forward, ulted himself, hit no one and died, Fish.
Trying to
call
kill
a
him.
spade a spade. He messed up.
He did. Not denying that. Was to pick up his CS, recuperate.
Was he? He was 0-5.
0-5. It's farming great. It's just dying. It's a difference. Still bad. But they're not going to pick up their mid laner to start things off. Instead, they do go, unfortunately, for the Braum, not something more aggressive here. And the Maokai is going to be the pickup from Marin.
So a very standard 5v5 composition so far coming out of LGD. Incredibly tanky. They need another hyper carry in the mid lane. I'm expecting to see Victor come out. Surprise, surprise. It is Punish. And they've got a 5v5 comp. Would fit incredibly well.
And this is most played champion in the LPL so far. Let's see if they do lock that in as their last pick. OMG, on the flip side, looking to pick up their AD carry and AP carry. We'll have to see what they bring to the mid lane and to the bottom lane. For now, it looks like they want to pick up Ezreal here. As Lucian was banned out by their lineup, they do lock it in as well. So fortunately, it seems like something went wrong during picks and bans there. So we're going to have to hopefully get back into that one very quickly.
Yeah, we'll jump back in really quickly. We can break down the composition so far because I assume they will be unchanged. LGD's lineup, we talked about it a lot last year, where LGD, last split, sorry, had this moment where they're like, we are either going to pick to absolutely dominate lanes or absolutely dominate team fights. And they would never draft in between. There was no bridging, as Frostgrim would call it. This is an absolutely dominate team fight composition. That's why I'm expecting to see the Victor. The idea behind that composition is all 3 waves push up, you neutralize jungle, you hope that it's relatively even at 25 minutes, and you start fighting each other again. So we'll see whether that does come into effect. On the other side of the rift, you've got a much more balanced lineup so far. Echo, Elise, Karma, that doesn't really show you anything. Could be Pick, could be Siege. So we'll see what comes out of OMG as a whole unit now.
And we saw them lock in the Ezreal while they were still picking the last pick, so it could potentially be that AD carry, and he seems like the most likely AD carry of choice to go to. You know, they still have like Caitlyn on the board as well if they want to pick that one up. But so far, you know, just moving around a mid laner to pick up, but they do go for that LeBlanc. It's pretty similar to what they ran in game 1.
100%. And, you know, the good thing about Ezreal and LeBlanc is, you know, if they have the LeBlanc, they're going to be able to set up areas of dark vision and make sure that they're looking for their picks. If they have Ezreal, he's able to poke out underneath turret reasonably well. And is still quite high range, but also has the safety of the E, so they can still siege down turrets. So, as I said, that's a very balanced composition in my mind. They do multiple things well, and we'll see what happens if that is what they go towards. I love Icon's LeBlanc, by the way. He's an absolute superstar, LeBlanc. He pressures the lane incredibly well, understands the ranges of the champion, and had some pretty flashy plays in that game as well.
He did play really well against Punish there, and, you know, there was 3-on-1 up at the top lane, was trying to run away. He was able to take down Punish while still escaping. So, a good match. We're going to go back in towards Champions League. It should be the same picks and bans coming out until the final pick rotation for OMG, and then the final pick coming out from LGD. So we shouldn't see any changes coming out to start things off.
Come on, Myron and Amy. Fly through it. Let's go.
Pick it. Lock it in. It is locked in. There's the Sivir XI. So LGD, one more time, looking to just try and run at people and fight you 24/7, because that's what we saw last game.
Yeah, as I said, this time around, you know, with the Maokai and with the Sivir, they need at least 2 or 3 items to be able to do that. So they want a reasonably early, even early game before they decide to run at people. But yes, you were correct. Eventually, they will just hit the donkey whistle and run at someone.
Ezreal, it's going to be the lock-in as the AD carry coming in for OMG. And also, LeBlanc is locked in for Icon. So we'll see the Assassin return to the mid lane for OMG's team.
Now mid laner has to be picked up. Cassidy is available. Punish has historically been a good Cassidy player. Does fine against AP. There is a lot of AP. Twist of Fate is not something that I was going to say. That is a very hard lane for you, Punish. You're going to be against pretty much a kill lane at every stage of the game.
We've seen this today already.
Victor is the other thing that is available. You know, sure. Fizz is available. You can play Fizz if you want.
We saw the graphics come up earlier. You know, Fizz has
a 0% win rate in the mid lane.
Win rate in the mid lane. Played the most by newbie.
That was against Invictus Gaming into the Twisted Fate matchup. Dade took Fizz into Rookie's Twisted Fate, and I was definitely made punished for that one.
Well, he's going to try and punish with a Cassidy lock.
Told you, Cassidy.
Not the Fizz.
Yeah, no, I knew it. Punish is a really good Cassidy player. He used to play both ends of the Victor Cassidy matchup when he was on Unlimited Potential very well. Was one of the first people that made us a believer that maybe Cassidy wins that matchup. We have since been shown that auto attacks from Victor hurt a lot. But this will be an interesting matchup. See whether Punish is able to scale up to the stage of the game. We said that they need another hyper-scaling threat. Cassidy gives them that. He does spades of damage with 3 items.
On top of that, gives them that extra mobility that they need if they want to continue playing these scrappy fights where they just keep fighting OMG at every point in the game. See what OMG can do, because they have a very similar lineup. You know, they've traded the AD carries over and traded the junglers over, but kept everything else the same.
Of course, LGD, a team that's very familiar with Cassidy, and Wayless used to play a lot of it. Not to mention that the cooldown reduction changes helped Cassidy out a lot. You can go things like Abyssal Scepter into Zhonya's Hourglass, get 20% there with your boots. Late game Lich Bane always been nice on Cassidy, so see whether he goes for something like that in his item build.
Let's see what Punish decides to build here against Icon, who's going into the Assassin matchup one more time here. Icon had a great game on LeBlanc. Let's see if we can do it in game number 2 as we head straight back into the Rift. We're back onto the Rift for game number 2 between LGD and OMG. Both teams still looking to try and pick up their first victory here in the summer split of the LPL. Now both of them are tied up in terms of games 1. OMG taking on LGD. LGD did have a single win against Team WE earlier in the summer split of the LPL. And this is a huge match for them, the bottom of the table clash. As we take a look at the Keystone Masteries very quickly, nothing out of the ordinary coming out from these two teams. Standard Keystone Masteries being picked up.
You can argue that Fervor on Sivir, you know, we do still see like 50-50 between Fervor and Warlord's Bloodlust, just because Sivir, medium range, gets punished a lot in laning phases. And doesn't really build lifesteal until last item in a lot of builds. I mean, you want to go for your last Whisper item, 3rd or 4th. You want to get an IE in there for the AoE crits. Yes, LeBlanc, I agree. So, yeah, you know, that might be a little bit of a difference, but also it's Imp, so he wants to be aggressive.
We saw how aggressive he was in the last game. I was hoping we could see how much damage he does. I would like to check that out one day, because that was a lot of damage dealt by the
Lane
Ezreal
swap this
last game.
time initiated from OMG. So Bay and 5 headed towards the top lane.
Imp and PYL will be stuck down the bottom lane for now. Looks like they want to try and start off at the Grump camp to start the game off.
Cool, so lane swaps are either for 2 reasons. Well, 3 reasons, right? You have a weak side lane, so either AD carry support or top lane, and you want to be able to neutralize that, or you feel that you have a really good mid lane matchup. And what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to isolate mid lane and, you know, put in work. And right now, OMG swapping, you would say that they have a better 2v2. They arguably have a better 1v1 as well. And they think that they have a really good mid lane matchup. So let's give the mid lane matchup over to Icon. Let him put in work on this LeBlanc. He has taken the Ignite to kill Summoner. And see what he can get done there.
Started with corrupting potion this game, so definitely looking to try and get some good auto attacks down on towards Punish. Already chunking him down to half his health. Punish is not going to have a good time in this lane anytime soon.
It is one of those lanes, however, that can go in Kassadin's favor. I mean, Kassadin, if he gets shoved into turret, that's a really nice empowered Q there from 5. Chunks Amy and Myron out.
Myron going to do his best to stop this Karma from putting any more damage down towards Amy. 5 just being a nuisance for now. Pricey comes out, tags him in return.
Yeah, so, yeah, as I said, punished if he gets some points into the W early, can trade back relatively nicely. I mean, it's one of those waves lanes as well that you can go 3 points Q max E and have the AoE pushback that you need against people like LeBlanc. That's what I was talking about, the W trade. So he gets a cheeky W in there. So yeah, it's not a horrible lane for Kassadin. It's not unwinnable by any extent, but you do have to make sure that you're keeping up in farm.
You can already see the 3 champions up at the top side of the map for OMG are working on the top lane outer turret. They will be able to take that one down shortly, but we're still looking at this mid lane where Icon has a small CS lead for himself, but he really needs to start bullying out Punish here.
New catalyst, by the way, on Kassadin. Phenomenal. Of course, when you spend mana, you get health back. When you spend health, you get mana back. Kassadin does both those things in fairly large quantities, Fish. So he is a fan of the item.
And you already liked picking up Rite of Ages. We have to see if he does go for the item. For now, though, we are going to see the first turrets drop in this game as the top lane turret has already been taken down by OMG.
See whether they peel away and go for a Baron here, LGD. They are slightly further behind, so they're not going to go for it. No priority placed on that objective at all. It is an Ocean Drake, which would be nice for them to have, especially with Kassadin, and he wants to stay topped off in lane as much as possible.
But now that bottom lane turret hasn't fallen down, will now fall down. Myron will be able to soak up the gold for himself. As you see, JJ, you know, casually comes to the mid lane, jumps on top of a creep, picks it up, walks away.
That's typical spider behavior, Fish. You should know that, living in Australia for a while now. If you ever see a spider run through your mid lane, that's generally what it does.
I have not seen a single spider while I've been here.
Really? Myron's... Ooh.
Takes a lot of damage.
He might be dead here.
So now actually might get jumped on. You can see the junglers clash here as Amy is able to fend Dredger out of his own
jungle. That was
jungle.
actually really nicely done by Amy. Chunks out the jungler as well. Pretty much denies a chance for the dragon to be started because dragons do a surprising amount of damage early in the game. Apart from Mountain Drake. That guy's so sluggish. He hits you like once every 6 seconds. Lift your game, Mountain Drake. He needs a diet or something. But yeah, that pretty much guaranteed that they can't get the dragon on the back end of it. You can see now that some more points are going into the W. Punish is starting to get chunked out. We'll go back. Probably go towards some magic resistance, then into a Rod of Ages. Actually just goes straight up Catalyst, so wants to be able to scale early into the game.
He's going to be able to teleport back into the lane here. We can already see where the lanes are going for both these two teams. Bottom lane for LGD is now moving up towards the top side of the map, going to try and take down the turret.
Myron's going to stop Icon's recall.
Oh, no.
What a nuisance. All right, so in the end, it is going to be a slightly quicker clear here, and the Elise is back. So they can start off a dragon if they want to. They've sent Amy and Marin towards the top side of the map. So no response will be forthcoming from LGD if they go towards that dragon. Although right now it's actually Jue jungling on the weak side of the map. Needs to be careful.
Jojo is able to take away the wolf cam, which will spot out Amy.
Yeah, you got the wolf camp, so that's nice.
Meanwhile, top side of the map, LGD looking to try and take down the top lane outer turret. Gold is completely even between these two teams at the moment. Sion does have a CS advantage on his Echo for now.
So nicely done, you know, both teams get the outer turrets, everything relatively even at this stage of the game. In fact, slight gold lead for LGD. Looks like Dragon will be started up. It is an Ocean Dragon, so it's definitely not Infernal Dragon status.
No triple Infernal anymore for the OMG lineup.
Yep. But still will be a good news story for OMG as they jockey for position around the map. Will be able to keep themselves topped up, relatively healthy. Elise will enjoy that a lot as she runs around the map. Second one will be the Earth or the Mountain Dragon. So
the one that needs to dive.
Need to keep an eye on that one.
Well, first Dragon of the game goes over towards OMG one more time here. So they pick up the Ocean Dragon, like you mentioned. Now we're going to see LGD swap down their AD carry back towards the bottom lane. Imp going to spell shoot out the Q that comes out from the Echo. Time Winder. See the PYL make their way down. We'll have to see where OMG send their their AD carry. They're going to send actually towards the top lane if you take a look at your minimap. And this mid lane is, you know, in favor of Icon right now, but Punish staying relatively healthy so far in the lane.
Yeah, certainly is. As Amy face checks two members.
He's going to try and smite that one
Got
away. He is able to take the red buff down. So Amy out-smiting Jue there.
Yeah, and actually this gives a big inside track here as Punish actually takes out Icon.
Puts a lot of damage down. Prey Seeker adds a little bit more chip damage towards the LeBlanc. Now 5, taking a little bit of damage from Marin. It's Imp being a nuisance, just chipping
Bullies
out.
Xiyang off 3 creep waves, actually. So that's a great news story here for LGD. He was actually trying to cheat and pick up as much CS as he can. Will get none off this, and it's going to be a huge shove into Tier 2.
Stops his back as well, heading towards the turret.
So this is great for LGD. LGD actually going to get the early game lead that they were looking for. As we said, they were one of the best teams in summer of last year of not fighting when they didn't have to. This time around, didn't need to fight, and they grabbed a turret advantage, even though they gave up the first dragon. So much better this time around.
So let's see how OMG going to respond to this, because for now, Icon in this mid lane, he hasn't been able to punish, so to speak.
At all. Like 5 CS down on a Kassadin, that's a very good laning phase
win
for Kassadin. That's a huge win. Especially in a ranged matchup with Corrupting Potion. Corrupting Potion actually made Fizz and Kassadin matchups really hard, because you'll get auto-attacked out, and whenever you tried to carry back, that would actually do more damage to you. So, good news story here for Punish. Only burning 1 teleport to get back into lane, and is pretty much equal on CS.
And also, LGD, they've been able to find 1,000 gold lead for themselves after taking down the bottom lane inner turret. OMG were not able to respond to do the same thing. This blue buff is going to go on over towards Icon.
And I wonder where they've set up their lane assignments now, because they've got all the outers up. Myron is recalling right now. Needs to go back and get himself an item to be able to stay in lane. Already into the top lane.
Sion
3 members collapsing.
Lots of damage here from the Rek'Sai. In fact, opting just to teleport away as the Parallel Conversion did come down, and we'll be able to escape.
But that's huge. Teleport now blown against what is a double teleport comp, with Dragon being up in 3 minutes. Massive victory for LGD. And, you know, you wonder how first game even happened, Fish, because this is a team that is much more in control of their early game.
Well, very different LGD lineup. No longer scrappily fighting OMG in every single chance they can.
It's only 9 minutes in. I reckon they've still got a couple of scrappy fights in too.
Wait till about 20. We'll check back in on how many fights have gone through for LGD. Now that they're very content with just farming it out and, you know, playing a better macro game, it seems, in OMG.
Yeah, we already spoke about this earlier today. When you're LeBlanc into Sivir in the mid lane, it's very hard to kill her because of Spell Shield. Whereas Kassadin in a side lane versus Ezreal will be able to easily chase him down.
Yep, Ezreal only has 1 Arcane Shift. Kassadin can just rift walk all over the place. Now, though, things are relatively quiet between these two teams. LGD still have that lead. It's not a huge lead to have this early in the game, but it is a lead nonetheless.
You see Shueijie walking into the jungle of Amy, trying to take things away. Amy actually has a fairly significant lead as well at this stage of the game, so needs to be careful. And the whole of LGD just look much more comfortable playing these scaling champions.
Certainly do. As Punish now. Trying to go toe-to-toe there against the Ezreal. That'll be a shield going on towards a minion instead of onto Bay. He's going to be able to soak up this big wave that is crashing on towards his turret.
As I said, this is just, once again, everything pretty much lining up for the LGD lineup. They'll be able to send Punish back after he cleans up this wave, grab his roller. They'll have double teleport available for a dragon fight. Don't know about the Berserker Greed first on Sivir, but you know, they happened as well.
Well, it is Dragon going to be spawning in a minute 30 here as him. Takes a lot of damage from Icon, locks him down with a chain, gets half his health. And that spell shield is able to mitigate lots of the damage coming out from LeBlanc.
And that's the thing, right? It's not that Imp won't take damage, it's just that he won't die against LeBlanc. It's very hard to get kill threat there at this stage of the game. Later on in the game, spell shield's not going to mean anything against the LeBlanc. Full combo is still going to be able to take anyone down, but at this stage, just means that Sivir's able to sit here, especially with a Cull and a Doran's, and just lifesteal back up everything that was chipped away.
We can see the items that have come out so far between these two teams. Sion actually opting to rush his Mercury threads here. Marin opting for a little bit more combat effective stats here. With his Spirit Surge almost completed, has those two components now. You can actually see Bay actually torn between which item's going to pick up first here. He has the components for his Mana Immune and also the Sheen there for the Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah, it has a little bit of everything, as now Marin might be caught out.
It's got to be a little bit careful as here comes Icon, dashes over the wall, lands that chain, but a teleport immediately being put down there by Punish, trying to lock them both down. Xiang not going to get jumped on. Now Marin has to be a little bit careful because yes, that teleport was cancelled coming out from Punish. You see lots of map protections coming out. Amy going to try and defend him. Two-shot barrage going to land there. Xiang pops his ultimate to stay alive. Marin takes a lot of damage in return. Here comes the junglers as well. JJ going to jump straight on top of Amy instead, but Marin, he's got nowhere to run now. Gonna get taken down. First blood goes on over towards Icon.
And just a bad cancel out of Punished. I mean, there should have been a communication that I'm still way too far up the lane. You have to commit to this. Instead, Punish cancels the teleport. Marin gets left out to dry. And everything that LGD had kind of built up in this early game falls down.
They're still going to look to try and take down this Mountain Dragon. Imp already working on trying to kill the dragon, but OMG not reacting to it, so LGD will still pick up the major objective.
Yeah, so they'll be able to grab the dragon, but all of this CS that was creating a big pressure point on the map will be absorbed. Once again, Icon, who, you know, hadn't had the best early game this time around, especially given he was against a Kassadin, is able to come out the other end of that with a kill and now a 20 CS advantage. So nice work to the young mid laner of OMG.
Still relatively quiet between these two teams, you know. OMG still 800 gold behind LGD. They're up against a Kassadin with a Rod of Ages stacking now. Icon does have the first blood and 30 CS lead, so a little bit better for LeBlanc, you could say. But not what he would want here coming into game number 2.
And once again, you know, as we take stock, there's still 1,000 gold the lead right now for LGD. They're still ahead. They had a much better early game, but it's just little things like that that can set you behind when you don't want it to. They're also going to invade onto the blue buff, so this is better coordinated play here. Be able to pick that one up for Punish, actually. Looks like it went over to Amy.
Picks it up. So good buff control coming out from the LGD lineup. Their blue buff actually going to spawn in about 30 seconds, so see if OMG do the same thing back to them. For now, though, you know, OMG happy to be able to soak up the waves that were a big pressure point earlier, now just piling on and marching towards their side of the map. It's a very quiet early game between LGD and OMG. Just something we used to expect from LGD, not so much anymore.
Yeah, completely, and this just shows that, you know, LGD want to be playing a more reserved game of League of Legends. They just can't figure out how to put it together. That was aggressive.
Very aggressive. Michael trying to jump on top of Imp there. They get lots of damage down towards this turret. 4 members of OMG strong and a very low Imp. As Punish going to jump in aggressively. Here comes Amy as well. Sivir uses the, Karma uses the shield to speed up the rest of the team. This turret might actually fall.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. This is always one of the weaker things about Kassadin comps. They don't have good wave clear, so they chunk out the Sivir, who is pretty much majority of that. The big clap out of Maokai sends everyone back, however.
Clasps his hands, forces everyone away. OMG not able to take it down, but they get lots of chip damage on towards the mid lane outer turret.
And they now have pressure over this blue buff. You already mentioned, can they do what LGD did to them just moments ago? It looks like the answer is yes. They will be able to steal that one away, give it over to Icon.
Icon gonna be able to pick this one up. Well, Spiderlings try to steal it. They're not. He already has his Morellonomicon picked up. Looking towards an Abyssal Scepter, you would think. That's his next item. Bay still waiting for his major item Power Spike as his tier is still stacking. Now I'm going to head back to base and see what he can complete with the gold he's picked up.
And if you have a look at the map, OMG have to do a much better job than what they are of securing vision. I mean, they have two very shallow pink wards in their jungle to make sure they're not being flanked upon. But they haven't really moved their vision ward up apart from the major camps. They need to start moving that line up, start trying to pressure people walking through the jungle with the LeBlanc, with the Elise. Otherwise, it's not really going to be possible to win out on this. At the same time, when you have a look at what LGD are trying to accomplish, we said they're a 3-item composition. Well, they're on 1 item so far, so they're in no rush whatsoever right now.
Jojo actually going to tank up this turret. Takes a lot of damage for it, but does fall down, and OMG pick up a turret for themselves, evening out the turrets 3-3. They're still behind on gold, though.
Yeah, so still down in gold, and that's what we're saying. The fact that, you know, LGD, as long as this game's going and they're ahead in CS in 2 of 3 lanes, they're going to be more than happy to just continue to farm this one up. Really do think that the pressure is on OMG to start getting better control over the map and start looking for their picks, translating that into Dragon, Rift Herald, as well as a Baron eventually, because this LGD lineup will just run over the top of you once they do get to the 3-item mark.
Well, let's see if they can do just that. OMG did break the mid lane outer turret, though, which is still standing for OMG at the moment on their side of the map. So still have a little bit more map control. And Dragon is going to be spawning in 2 minutes here. 1 Dragon apiece for both these teams. LG do have the Nautilus Dragon, so a little bit more extra damage to epic monsters and turrets, just like this Rift Herald, which is going to get taken down. Should be given over towards Amy or Marin.
Yeah, it's probably go over to Marin right now, because Marin will probably need to be able to use that to duel out the Echo. You see that they had a conversation about it. They both stand on top, and Marin wins out.
Marin's like, I'm Maokai, give it to me.
So now Marin, no real threat that the Echo is going to be able to kill him, although with no Sheen item probably wasn't a threat in the first place. Icon's lined up against Punished here. And honestly, Punished with Merc Treads might be able to get the better of this. He's level 11.
Mm-hmm.
And his role is pretty much stacked up now. He's in a very good position.
Let's see what he can do, because you can already see Icon respecting him a little bit more now on the LeBlanc. Staying a good distance away from the Kassadin.
Drake about to respawn in about 50 seconds time, so they're setting up for that objective as well.
His base still trying to find farm wherever he can on the map. Currently has his Manamune stacking, still waiting for his Iceborne Gauntlet, which is where Ezreal's true power spike is.
Yeah, it gives you that control over team fights. As an Ezreal, you want to be able to dictate the flow of the game. Don't really look for the damage until a little bit later unless you were able to nail those Qs consistently and stack that passive up.
Still very quiet, not used to this after game 1.
40 kills in 40 minutes in game 1.
Yep.
1 kill in 19 minutes game 2. I think that's a pretty large disparity in kills per minute.
History repeats itself. We should have 2 kills by 40 minutes here. If the games are, you know, contrasting in that sense.
However, I do feel like OMG are actually the ones that ultimately lose out on this. We said the fast game kind of suited them last time because of the fact that they were already ahead. Well, LGD this time, they're ahead and they're playing it nice and slowly and just taking the small advantages on their scaling composition.
Well, it's Cloud Dragon that's going to spawn here in game number 2. We saw 3 Infernals, no Infernals in this game now.
Yeah, LGD got a little bit ripped, right? When you have a look at it, triple Infernal at the start of the last game, really set OMG up for a good news story. This time around, they get a mountain and an air for their trouble. I mean, not the worst, but certainly not triple Infernal.
OMG were able to take a Dragon away early as well. So denying some of the extra strength that Dragon could possibly give LG later on in the game.
Icon actually looking for a pick on Punished here. He is lower level. As I said, even though he has that kill, I don't know if he wins the 1v1, so needs to be careful. And exactly where LGD's ward line is now is where OMG's ward line should have been 5 minutes ago when they were trying to shut this scaling composition down. Right now, Negatron Cloak picked up. It's really only the Ezreal, and I've spoke about it already today. Oh, potential catch here on PYL.
Some damage goes down.
If you're running a single AD carry comp, Ezreal is one of the worst carries to run into that. because he's a different kind of AD carry. Here we go.
We're going to see an engagement come in. PYL just jumps on top of all of them. Bay now takes Baron damage, has to flash out. Icon has taken down PYL though. Maokai is able to jump straight back on top of it. Is able to take him down. Here comes Punish though. Jumps on top of the backline. Able to take down the support. 5 has fallen. Punish now looking for more. Gets the double kills. Icon running for the heals, trying to get out of there. Xiang was able to escape the backlines, but it's a 3-for-1 trade in favor of LGD.
And PYL one more time just throws his body at the OMG lineup, starts up the fight on Braum, and the follow-up this time around is there for LGD. They're able to clean up the back end of the team fight, and now they're going to look to push through for even more.
And they've already taken down the mid lane outer turret. They're going to try and take down Icon. Ip is actually able to pick up that kill. LGD have just turned on the switch here. And game number 2, they take down the mid lane inner turret as well.
And finally, I think this is one of the times that OMG don't want to overchase at the back end of the fight because they already lost it. And everyone is so healthy still from this LGD lineup. Amy, that's dangerous.
Looking to try and take down Amy here. Parallel Convergence is going to come down, but would not lock down the Rek'Sai. Who's able to get out of there.
And Phantom Dancer picked up by Imp. Huge shot for the AD carry. Goes back, turns Azeel into a Phantom Dancer. You can see that everyone now much more comfortable on the LGD lineup. And with only the support falling on the back end of that team fight, really does show how potent this can be. As soon as a fight starts up, Punish and Imp just chase for days.
You can see Punish already has the Seeker's Arm Guard as well as that Negatron Cloak. So that's a deceptively tanky Cassidy coming into this game.
Cassidy is always tanky. I mean, he has that magic shield as well that comes out. And as I was saying, if you're running a solo AD carry versus pretty much anti-magic takes, I mean, Maokai, very good. Spirit Visage into Merc Treads. When you have a look at Amy, going to do something very similar here. And punished with what is now in a completed Abyssal Scepter, Merc Treads, and Roa. He's a legitimate anti-magic tank. Really, only Bay is the one that can take him down. And Ezreal just doesn't do that physical damage you're looking for out of your AD carry at this stage of the game.
You know, it's strange because we saw they opted for the Echo first pick over the Rek'Sai. Then they picked Elise, you know, even when Graves was left available as well. So they went into this one, even though Cassidy was the last pick from LGD. LG now still trying to look for a pick on towards Amy. Just takes a tunnel, is able to escape.
And you can see that exactly is what the game plan is right now. Try and get that pick, but their ward line has just never been there. Has never been past River, and it still is not. So there's no way that they can really safely look for that. OMG, they're kind of in the same position as LGD last game. They're down a couple of Drakes. They're down the outer turrets. They need to flick the switch. Otherwise, the longer this game goes, the easier it is to just take up Baron.
They are 4,000 gold behind here, so a big deficit have to fight against. PYL blocking a lot of damage by putting up the shield there.
That was a huge unbreakable.
Nothing could break it. Oh, gee, they're still being very passive here. You know, LGD at this point in the game, when they're behind, they were just running at OMG, trying to find a place to fight.
See,
OMG,
I don't know if that's a good tactic, though. Like, it's an enjoyable tactic, but I don't know if you win many games that way, Fish. And I think that we saw that come to fruition at the end of last game. It's now potentially Amy caught out by Icon, but that is the tankiest member of LGD. It's great to see Super Tank junglers back, by the way.
Like the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, like the Rek'Sai.
Yep, we call it.
Even Elise can be incredibly tanky. I mean, she clears so well after just picking up her jungle item. Can go towards things like Dead Man's Plate as her second item. Of course, electing for a little bit more magic damage feel here.
This game, though, just really feels in LGD's control right now.
Oh, 100% is in their control. They're 4,500 gold up. They have a much better scaling composition. As I said, I can't believe they're actually ahead before 3 items because it is just so hard to execute in the early game with a Cassidy and with a Maokai, who do need items to start ramping up. But right now, you know, there's absolutely nothing they can do. Imp won't be assassinated because he's got a Hex Drinker. He's already got a Phantom Dancer in his item as well. You know, they've already got the Aegis. They've got pretty much 2.5 items on every single one of their major threats. And there's no one that can kill Myron or Amy at this stage of the game.
So what do we see OMG doing moving forward now? Because
I don't see what OMG are going to be able to do here, so just trying to farm up and...
It's really get vision and start trying to get picks. So this is a good start.
Looking for punish, able to root him down the second chain. Is not going to connect from Icon.
So that's what they need to do. They need to look for picks. I mean, they've got Cocoon, they've got the 2 chains that will come out of both Karma as well as the LeBlanc, and they should be looking to capture either PYL or Amy as they go in for vision. But it just hasn't been able to execute because they've been behind the whole game. They haven't been able to push that ward line up anywhere.
And this Ocean Dragon is going to fall down for LGD. So they've got all 3 dragons you could possibly get in this game. The next one to spawn will be a Mountain Dragon. So something LGD will definitely want to try and pick up.
Yeah, 100%. You know, even without it, they might still look towards this Baron objective because it is 26 minutes into the game. And they need to start forcing OMG to come to them. As I said, they do scale up nicely. But you don't want the game to go too long. They are in a position right now to be able to fight. In fact, Amy likes his chances versus Icon.
Trying to fight him there on the Rex side. Does have the Spirit Visage. It doesn't take too much magic damage.
Takes no damage at all.
Imp, really the only person that has to be careful about that LeBlanc right now.
I don't even know if Imp has to be. I mean, one attack from the Phantom Dancer going to cut a lot of the damage away, as well as the fact that he's got a Spell Shield and that Hex Drinker. And not to mention a private bodyguard in Amy there. It was just stalking the LeBlanc around.
Icon doesn't have very many viable targets here. I mean, we saw the first few picks rotations coming up from LGD, Maokai, Rek'Sai, Braum. That's already a huge tanky front line that LeBlanc's going to have a tough time to deal with.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now the stack is finally here. They're looking to one more time siege down this turret. That is one thing the composition doesn't do well. Cassinan, Sivir does not offer the potent siege potential that you would expect.
They could dive, but it's difficult.
Yeah, especially because, you know, they're against all magic damage threats, so they've built pretty much primarily magic damage at this stage of the game. Probably don't want to be going for those dives.
They're looking to try and stop this blue buff from being taken away. Xiang, deep inside the pit. PYL was looking for something. There comes the clap from Maokai, reducing damage. Xiang's already deep inside the pit. Blue buff does eventually fall, but at what cost? LGD looking for a punish. Already in the backlines with Amy. They get lots of damage down onto wards. Bay, and they're able to take him down as well. Icon can get followed by this Maokai punish. Is going to get onto the backlines one more time. Jer is going to try and escape. Has to flash away, but another time, 3 members of OG fall down just for PYL.
And one more time, you just cannot outrun this LGD lineup. So as soon as they get on top of you, you have to turn and fight. And OMG just don't have the items to be able to do that. So at 28 minutes into this game, LGD are going to crack open the base. And you know, it's just one of those games where they have a better scaling comp and they got ahead early. What can OMG actually do?
I don't see anything that they can do here. They're just getting pushed on by LGD every team fight. They do no damage to the front line.
That's a 10 stack Dark Seal right now for Punish. He's going to be able to go back, transform that whenever he wants. Probably has his Zhonya's as well.
This looks like a disaster for OMG. A complete turn of the table here for LGD in game number 2.
Yeah, 100%. Just, as I said, when you look at the compositions, you think, you know, they have to gank Icon's lane heavily. I like the fact that they isolated it. Get the Elise in there, though, and try and start that one off. They have to jockey for position, try and catch out PYL when he's going in for those wards that have goofy eyes, just like that. That's definitely not a ward. Because otherwise you just get eventually outscaled, and that's exactly what's happened here. Although now maybe Imp has been caught out.
They're trying to find Icon. Imp has actually been caught out, takes a lot of damage, falls down. Xiang finds that kill. The rest of LGD now trying to run away as Amy takes a lot of damage. PYL getting jumped on. Here's that teleport
Myron
coming in. Punish looking to try to jump into the backlines. He does go in, pops to Zhonya's immediately as he's trying to take down Jer. Myron now to the backlines. 5 is going to be the target of choice. OMG are able to take him down even without Imp. They're still dealing lots of damage. Jer's going to fall down next. Myron deep into the back lines. They take down Bay. That's a double kill for Punish, and they're able to take down everybody on the OMG lineup, even without him.
Yeah, and in the end, it's a 4v5. Punish is out of mana, so this is going to take quite some time. But in the end, he picks up what I think was a quadra. No, it actually wasn't. Everyone else got the kills there. But realistically, the fact that they just fought a legitimate 4v5 and were able to still come out ahead just proves how fruitless this game is for OMG right now. They get the pick onto arguably the most important carry in the Sivir, and it still just does not matter.
It's a 6-0-6 Cassinan that we're looking at from Punish here. He is a monster. The rest of the team, they're just so tanky. It's so hard to deal with. Look at the items that Myron has picked up. Sunfire Cake, Spirit Visage, Thornmail.
Even the Rek'Sai is just a brick wall right now with the 3 tanky
There
AOEs
is
being completed.
absolutely nothing they can do. I mean, OMG unfortunately lost contact with this game way too early on. Bad decision to trade second outer. They pretty much shoved Xiang off so much of the farm in the early stage of the game. He's 3-1, still having a pretty good crack at it. But the bottom lane just hasn't been able to do anything.
No, 0, 3, and 5 for both Bay and 5 in this game. I mean, you can see Bay, he's picked up the Mortal Reminder, trying to cut some of the healing that can be done by Maokai, but it's almost too little too late for this OMG lineup. That was a massive team fight without Imp, and they still lose it. Under 9,000 gold behind the LGD team.
Yeah, and look, you feel for Bay because he really needed that Blade of the Ruined King, because that was what would have turned him into an auto attack carry threat to be able to cut through all of this magic resistance. But then they were that far ahead that they started picking up the 1 armor item. Then you need to go towards something like a Mortal Reminder. And from there, he just had no choice in his itemization. So they've just been able to ignore him in every team fight and kill him eventually.
Well, Icon does have the Void Staff now, so going to be able to cut through some of the magic resistance that the team has. You can already see Castellan. He's picked up Dash Cannon for himself now.
Hextech Proto Belt picked up. Interesting itemization choice. I mean, as I said, the new items certainly add some cooldown reduction into Castellan's kit.
He's got 30%.
I was thinking more along the lines of Lich Bane, but you know, Hextech Proto Belt certainly also adds that.
Well, LGD now looking to try and take down this Mountain Dragon. Should fall down with ease. No contest coming out from the OMG lineup.
That is a coveted second Mountain Dragon. That means that Baron is going to be an incredibly easy objective for this team.
I just don't see what OMG can do anymore. They are so far behind against a team comp that just scales so nicely into the late game too. It's going to be a miracle coming out. They already got that miracle pick onto Imp. Not enough. They've got to find more. They've got to pick off Punish and Imp together, it seems, to get this game on the.
But then it's not a pick. Then they just turn around and fight you, Fish. That's not what you want at all. I mean, you know, they needed to try and reset the fight, look for some turrets afterwards. Instead, they went for the 5v4 team fight. And LGD were just way too strong. So Heart was in the right place for OMG, but not able to get it done. Unfortunately, LGD haven't done their due diligence here, haven't swept out the area correctly.
Now they put the Minkle down finally. Immediately turn towards the Baron, looking to try and take it down.
His Baron will die so quickly. You already see a quarter of his health gone. That's down to a half.
OMG, they look like they want to fight for it. There goes the Cocoon for Churchill, doesn't find anyone. He might be able to get into towards the pit.
Coming in. Look at where Punish is.
But that's a fight. It's already broken out. Base already taken out. Churchill said double kill for Castellan. OMG getting ripped apart by this team fight from LGD. That's 3 members dead already. Only training PYL one more time. And LGD going to be able to take down this Baron.
And PYL, the captain, the shot caller, the sacrificial lamb, all in one in this team fight. Was that brutal? We had to censor it from people's eyes. But in the end, Baron is going to go down because LGD are just so far ahead.
So far ahead. They're 10,000 gold up. They've got the Baron. They've got 3 dragons.
All right, let's have a look at what actually happens. Double teleport comes in. They turn around straight away. Jue went over the back of the pit. 5 gets blown up. And everyone just piles into what is a Castellan. And look at the AoE burst damage. Proto Belt comes out, picks him off the kill. And there's just no coming back from there.
They've just got no way to lock down Punish right now. I don't see how they do it. He's 8-0-7 with the Zhonya's Hourglass and the Abyssal Scepter, as well as that Rod of Aegis.
Not to mention the fact that Imp has quietly built up 5 items. Jue, that is not a brush you want to check.
Well, throws in the Cocoon, is able to find Amy.
Titanic Hydra is about to be picked up by Amy. Myron is like completely done. He's about to upgrade into a Mejai Soul Stealer because he's got 10 stacks on the Dark Seal.
On the Maokai. Red buff going to be taken away by Imp here. They are now 11,000 gold ahead of OMG with the Baron buff, looking to try and siege up more of these inhibitor turrets. One more fight would all it would take really for LGD just to break through the base.
Yeah, 100%. Just look for the pile-in. I mean, now Maokai has got the double armor item, so diving turrets will be easy for Myron. Not to mention all the follow-up damage that can come out of this squad.
They're probably going to look for it now. Here's the parallel verge coming
Here we
from
go.
Xiang. They're going to try and look for the fight. Icon, he's getting locked down here. Still alive, able to blink out of the fight for now. But Amy flashes on forward, able to take him down. Now they're looking towards take down Bay as well. He's going to fall. Punish, straight onto the back lines. 5. He's going to get double killed down with Punish. He's looking for more. As JJ is going to be the next target. But LGD, they're just going to look towards the base next, I feel, as OMG scatter towards the rest of Summoner's Rift. It's not going to be able to save them, though. This Nexus is going to fall down. LGD are going to tie up the series 1-1.
Yeah, and in the end, a clinical game out of LGD. Patient, able to get the scaling that they're looking for. Take it in 34 minutes. Definitely not as high impact as game number 1.
No.
Not as many of those little fights. But they're still able to clean up their play.
It looked a lot cleaner from LGD. Not just clean up their play, it just looked clinical almost that game. They were able to get an advantage from the beginning and scale up nicely and just execute on their team comp perfectly.
And this is what we expected, right? LGD, they get the good lane swap. They're able to utilize that to, you know, push an additional turret. Even though they lose first blood, they're able to get themselves that advantage and be able to push through that into the team fight stage. And when you take scaling champions like Casson and Maokai and Siva, if you ever make it even or ahead into team fights, you're just going to win.
And they were ahead from right off the bat. We saw Punish was not punished in the mid lane. Icon, you know, ended that laning phase only 5 CS ahead. Couldn't do anything about it. They were able to get one pick onto Marin, and there was still 1,000 gold behind it. All the dragons were going on over to LGD. Once it just came to team fights, they could only kill PYL, and once they killed PYL, the rest of the team just walked all over OMG.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you have a look at these fights where they're all running down chokes, just getting cleaned up by the Casson and Rek'Sai Maokai. And then Siva just has to hit the nearest target and snowball that damage onto everyone else.
Yep.
Was really interesting. And I like to see LGD diving turrets. Sure, there were still bad things in this game from LGD. The cancel teleport from Punish onto Myron where he got caught out. Not great. Imp got picked here. But the fact that they'd done all the hard work early to get themselves into a winning position just meant that it was nowhere near as punishing as it was in game number 1.
And it was another one of those massacre team fights. This was when Imp was picked out before the fight started. OMG wanted this fight after they killed him, and they just couldn't take down Punish, who just wreaked havoc in the backlines with Amy one more time.
Yeah, exactly right. So did mean that LGD were finally able to turn it around, and this is what we expect out of the team. I mean, as we said, they have superstar players absolutely everywhere. They should be able to do this consistently. This was the last team fight pretty much into the Baron, and unfortunately just, you know, split decision making, and then the Casson is just coming over the back and cleans everyone up.
I think Bay had no uptime in team fights there. Every time he was trying to auto-attack somebody, Punish was just in his face, killing him. It's just dead every single time.
Well, he has no protection, right? The fact that they're running pretty much an assassin comp themselves that needs to pick someone that fell behind. Then you got Maokai, Rek'Sai, Kassadin all diving onto your AD carry because everyone else is magic damage. Once you kill the Ezreal, there is no damage to kill the rest of your squad. He really was priority number 1 and got treated like that.
Well, it was a much better game 2 coming up from LGD. Don't go anywhere. We're going to a very short break before we're back with a third and final game of the night.